So I recently sold out of some positions, and in the few hours, I'm gonna sell out a few more. And it might not be for the reason you think. So on today's episode, I am gonna take a look at the stocks I'm selling, I'm gonna take a look at the potential sell list, and then I'm also gonna talk about what I'm doing with the money I'm collecting. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and follow me on Twitch where I live stream taking a look at stocks you want me to look at. So let's get started. So I'm completely revamping my whole portfolio, and I want to compare my old portfolio versus my new portfolio. So right now, it is no secret that I like to have multiple positions in my portfolio. And in a few minutes, I'll hit why I have multiple positions. There's a reason behind it. But the main changes right now is happening in the concentration. So I closed out of 4 positions yesterday. And I had 67 positions in my last portfolio update. Now I'm down to 63. And if things continue how they are today, that list will continue to drop more. Maybe I have about 18 other stocks that I could close out. And depending on how the market reacts, I will continue to close. And the reason I'm closing them out is not to build up cash. No, I want my money working right away. But I want to concentrate on some of my big winners. Before, in my previous update, my top 10 stocks only made up about 37% of my portfolio. Right now, where I'm at, my top 10 stocks make about 47%. And in the upcoming hours, it will grow even more as I close positions, right? So that's a huge dramatic change, right, in the overall positions. So it would say that my top 10 positions back then on average held less than 4%. Now my top 10 positions on average hold an average of about 5% per position. So you can see a whole different level of concentration is happening in my portfolio. So now let me talk about some of the positions I've closed. So right now I closed 4 positions. I closed EA Games, I closed Nintendo, I closed Amazon, and I closed NTES. And I want to say at first, I did not close any of these positions because I am bearish on them. I still believe that's why I bought them. I bought them because I believe they were great companies, and I still do. But right now, I do believe that the money I had on them can be used better in another company or another place. And I also have other contenders. Like I mentioned, I have about 16 names right now that I can continue to sell. Some of those are going to be most likely Activision is next on my list, followed by MasterCard, maybe Yes, JD, OTGLY, Cyberpunk Creator. And again, not bearish in any of these stocks. Any stocks in my portfolio, I would never own because I was bearish, or I would buy because I was bearish. But right now, I feel like I can use this money elsewhere. And I'm going to talk about in a bit what I'm going to continue to do and why I'm selling this and why from the get-go I didn't jump into the stocks I'm getting into right now. And there is a very great reason behind there. But right now, let me tell you guys what I'm buying. So starting off with my top stocks right now. Right now, I'm buying my 4 biggest conviction stocks, and that's going to be NVIDIA, that's Sea Limited, that's Unity, and that's Cerence. After I build a nice position on these, after these positions become 5, 6, 7% of my portfolio individually, so I'm looking for these 4 to be at least just these 4 stocks be over 20% of my portfolio. After I kind of hit that and I'm feeling that, okay, I built up my exposure on these, I'm going to start hitting other contenders. I have right now about 10 names. Most of those names are in my account already. I just want to increase my overexposure. But there are a few that aren't in my account right now, and I wouldn't mind going a little heavy from the get-go. Some of these names are like Gravity, Shopify, Square, Roku, Neo, and Twilio. So many people might be wondering, Jose, why are you selling these? And why didn't you just start off with heavy positions on your top conviction stocks? And that's obviously a great question in my opinion, but I think it's all because of the way I invest. So I put money to work on a weekly basis. So every week I put X amount of money into the market, and I put that money to work right away. So I think it would be different how I would have deposited my money. Let's say I put money to work every single quarter instead of every single week. Instead, if every single quarter I just put one big chunk of money instead of small chunks every week. If I did that, I feel like if whatever stock I saw on sale or whatever stock I had a big conviction, I would be able to go very, very heavy in at once. But since I put money on a weekly basis, it's very hard for me to go hard at once on the stock one at a time, right? The second thing is, because I put money on a weekly basis, there are some weeks that I might think my stocks that have highest convictions are a bit overextended. They might be, so instead of buying an overextended, I try to find new positions instead. So I ended up buying others. But during times like right now, right now we're seeing a lot of sales. Some of my favorite stocks are on sale. So I closed those positions that I kind of opened up just because I didn't like my current stock right now, just because of the overextension and just because of the overall market. So I closed those other positions and I continue to build up on my main accounts or my main stocks. So in simple terms, during crazy bull markets like we've had in the past few months, where everything is just going up and going up, my portfolio will have a lot of stocks. Like I said, we had about 67 in my portfolio at one time. But during correction times, during times like today, that number will shrink. And my exposure on certain stocks will increase dramatically. So right now, like I mentioned, from 67, I can see myself going down all the way to like 40 positions. And I can see like my top 10 holding over 50, maybe even 60% of my portfolio just on those top 10 stocks. And there are some things to note before I sell. So when I'm looking to what to sell, there is a criteria that I go about. So first, let me just say, this is not financial advice. I'm not a tax expert at any means. This is just what works for me. So when I sell a stock, I look for stocks that are slower growers. Like you saw, I sold Nintendo. And what did I buy instead of Nintendo? I bought more of a gaming company like Unity. I sold some EA games. What did I buy? I bought Unity. I bought Torrents. Companies that I see are a little bit more growers. So when I sell, like right now, when the stocks I sell first, I start to look at some of my slower growers. The second thing is I try to look for stocks that haven't made too much of a gain. And you might be like, Jose, why are you doing that? Because I don't want to pay taxes, right? I definitely don't. I'm not going to go out there and sell a stock that has done 400% on me, because then I have to pay. Right now, those are probably short-term gains for me. So those are going to be already about 30% on my gains. So that's pretty much me having to make up that money in my next trade. That's a lot of percent that I have to make up with that money. So I'd rather not pay taxes right now. The second thing is, if I do sell big winners, I have to kind of find ones that are selling at a loss right now so I can offset those gains and help me pay less in taxes. So I go through all these steps before even finding out what stocks to sell. Unfortunate, but fortunate, last year was such a great year for many of us, right? We had crazy returns. Unfortunate, right now, if the stocks I'm selling right now are sold, I'm gonna have a nice amount of realized gains. And I don't have enough losses at the moment to offset those. So that's what's kind of slowing me down on how many I actually sell, just because I don't want to have a crazy amount of realized gains right now to pay those taxes later on. So yeah, these are the reasons I'm closing out of certain stocks. I wonder what you guys are doing. Are you guys selling out for a whole different reason? Are you guys just building up cash? Are you guys not even making any changes to your portfolio? I mean, I think any answer is correct, right? I think this investing game has plenty of room for multiple styles, right? There's no one style fits all. This style, I think, works really well for me. It allows me to, at first, when everything is overextended, to be diversified, right? To be diversified, because I feel everything is going up too much, but at the same time, I want my money to work. But when we have corrections like today or like this week, it allows me, hey, Jose, now's the time to really concentrate yourself. So it's a mixture of multiple investment styles that I have put on together to kind of help me grow and become the investor that I am. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like always, take care, have a good night, and let's have a good day, actually.